follow-up to a video I made recently about why modern-day engines simply don't last, the way they're engineered, designed, the way they're built, and as well, even the materials that go into them are all factors that limit the lifespan of a lot of modern-day engines. But guess what? Not all is lost, because I'm going to share a list of 5 amazing cars and some of those bulletproof engines that will literally last forever. Let's get into it now.
Life's too short to drive boring cars.
And the first vehicle that has some of the known most reliable engines on this planet are... yeah, not quite. It's actually over here. Skip the VW 2. It's this Lexus here, right here. As you'll notice, the big mouth grille. And of course, you get the big check marks, beautiful rims, of course, F Sport. But it's not about all of the bling and all of the chrome detail or the fancy wings on the back. None of that really matters. What matters is reliability and vehicles that are unstoppable because of the powerful drivetrains they have. This one here clearly is a beautiful Lexus IS series. IS 350, all-wheel drive. So you get the all-wheel drive. You can drive it winter, summer, and all the way around. It's a beautiful vehicle, gorgeous interior. You have F Sport package, and naturally the beautiful LEDs every which way. But what makes it so great is because of these engines under the hood. Yes, this generation of Lexus, and many of them, including many Toyota products that have the 350 designation, like this one, carry a GR series of engine. That's right, the 3.5-liter V6 GR Toyota engine wrapped under the hood. Now, because it's a Lexus product, it runs front to back, that's longitudinal. If you're driving a Toyota product, they put it transverse, but at the either way, they give you that 3.5-liter V6 engine. And whether you're looking at a Toyota, whether you're looking at a Lexus like this, just know if you got that 3.5-liter V6 that's naturally aspirated with the GR designation, you've got yourself a winner. It's one of the most reliable products that Toyota and Lexus have ever built. I mean, you're good for 300, 400, 500,000 miles. The only thing that really typically went wrong, the odd water pump, where you got to watch for coolant in the V, as well as the VVTi line. It's got double variable valve timing. So the variable valve timing lines are hydraulic and they could burst, but there was a recall or a bulletin to get that rectified, get that out of the way. The transmission was solid, the engine was unstoppable, and any of these Lexus products, this one, F Sport being the IS model, you can get ES models, you can also get a whole variety of different Toyota vehicles like the Camrys, the Siennas, the older Siennas, and many vehicles that typically have that 350 designation, as you're seeing right there. That means you're likely carrying that engine, and because it's unstoppable, this is a car you want to buy. And the next engine in line is tucked under the hood of one of these vehicles like this. Here we have a BMW, as you will notice right here, and it's the X5, and there are a couple of other models like X6 in certain markets that do carry the same drivetrain. But what's so special about this vehicle? I mean, yes, you do get the great wheels and you get the nice easy access in and big large sunroof and beautiful well-built interior on these vehicles, but it's really not about all the cosmetics. And most BMWs have a grand reputation for reliability issues, high cost of servicing and maintenance, but there's a very specific engine in here that's literally built to run forever, received Ward's Best Engine of the Year award many years over. Tucked under the hood, this is the later generation of the X5, but the older generation as well also has a great engine. Now this here is the latest generation, carried the N57 engine, but arguably the M57 engine is even better. Now they're both a 3-liter turbocharged engine, direct fuel injection, common rail on the M57. The older M57, which went up to 2013, carried an iron block. It was a heavy-duty, heavy engine, but had some swirl flap issues. Other than that, it was a very reliable vehicle. Other than, as well, a lot of people ended up going full delete, removing the EGR, removing the DEF tank and some of the other components because the emissions equipment were the only weak point of that engine. Some markets didn't have all that equipment, and the markets that did, a lot of people started to retrofit that equipment out and set a tune to them. The core engine was indestructible, and arguably the M57 was one of not just the best diesel engines, one of BMW's best engines ever made. For durability, reliability, they are a true workhorse. Now they are expensive to replace and repair parts on, but they do last a long time. The N57 engine, like you'd find in this later generation like this, came in 2014, 2015, and ran up to 2018. Also very reliable, didn't have the swirl flap issues, and as well was mostly aluminum engine. Very, very good engines, and the N57, M57 are engines. Figure out the few little nuances, get them behind you, and you've got yourself a vehicle that will literally run forever. And another car that carries one of the most reliable engines is this car right here, a Honda. As you can see on the logo there, right in the front, you get the big bar, no surprises there. The latest Hondas aren't quite as reliable as these old school ones. Of course, you do get chrome touches and sunroof on top. This one here is a Touring with the V6 Honda Accord. Now, it's that V6 engine that you get under the hood that makes this car so reliable. Now, it comes with a bit of a caveat. That's it, just a single caveat. The fact that that V6 produces significant amount of power, and depends on the model, it does generate different levels of performance, but you get that engine in many different models. This is a 2008. You can find it in a variety of, early 2000s all the way up to many years later. You can find it in vehicles like the Honda Accords, the Odysseys, you name it, Pilots and beyond. Now, there's only two downsides. This J35A V6 engine, that's 3.5 liter V6, is Honda's one of their sweet spots. The only downside is recently there was a recall for a bunch of different vehicles that they had some machining issues on the bottom end of the engine and had some crankshaft problems. But that was a small batch. Other than that, the J35A engine is one of the most workhorse engines you'll ever find at any point. It's their sweet spot. And the beauty with this engine, all you have to do is remember, the only exception is it does not have a timing chain under here. Instead of most modern engines, and like the Lexus and the Toyota engines, their 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 comes with a timing chain, so it's basically hands off. The only downside with this Honda, do not ignore it at all, is the timing belt. And they say basically change that every 100,000 miles and you're good to go. Now, if you're shopping and you're looking at one of these vehicles that carries one of the older 3.5 liter V6 engines by any Honda model, be sure to have your mechanic validate and or even just replace it. For the few $100s or maybe $1,000 it might take to replace it, if the service history isn't guaranteed, if you don't have it in the receipts on a sale of a vehicle, then make sure you just take care of it and incorporate the price into there. Negotiate that extra upgrade, because if people aren't taking care of the maintenance, that could be a big falter. But that's any of these vehicles. At the end of the day, that V6 right there, in this case a V6 Touring, is one of the most reliable workhorse engines. Keep doing the timing belts every 100,000 miles and this vehicle will guarantee to run 300, 400, 500,000 miles easy, all day, every day. The next series of engines that are legendary for long-lasting durability and will never get crushed go in vehicles like this with 4.6 liters under the hood, 5 liters under the hood of these vehicles here, and 5.7 liters of fury go into this vehicle here, the LX 570. Now, this has been replaced, unfortunately, with another version, which is a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6, which is not nearly as legendary in the full-size LX SUV like this. This is their large and in charge SUV by Lexus. Toyota also has the Land Cruiser and Land Cruiser Prado, and as well, the 5.7 like this under the hood is a UR generation of engine, and of course, 5.7 liters of displacement. That engine is also shared with the Toyota Tundra, the full-size pickup truck from previous, until they also swapped out to the 3.4 liter V6. This was the engine that was known for ultimate long-living durability. This one here, the LX 570, has a all aluminum V8 engine, 32 valves, double variable valve timing, so intake and exhaust, magnesium valve covers, timing chains, and there's very little to even talk about in terms of overall failure modes other than the odd coolant leak, which is something you always have to be aware of. Any engine that pushes fluids, whether it's coolant or oil, always poses a risk of failure in that regard. So a few leaks here or there may be a problem, but that's all the way up to 500, 600, 700,000 miles. You're likely going to see a few little issues like that along the way. It's that 5.7 liter V8 engine, the UR series of engines that are known for ultra reliability, long lasting life, and they will absolutely never die. So whether you're looking for the 4.6, whether you're looking for the 5 liter or even the 5.7, you're guaranteed to get an engine that's built to last a long time. And quite honestly, you're going to be grossly bored of that vehicle way before that engine ever goes. And here we have a GM product. This is obviously a Corvette C7 generation. It's not the latest, but it's the generation before that, and it does carry an LT engine in there under the hood there, but that is not the engine that we're talking about that's so legendary. While Chevy and Corvettes, they often created some of the best drivetrains for these vehicles. Powerful, reliable, durable, but the engine in question that I truly believe is one of the most legendary engines you'll find anywhere at any time. So many people use the reference, we're gonna do an LS swap. That's right. A lot of Corvettes starting back in 1997, they started with the Corvette, introduced the LS style of engine. And then in 98, the Camaro got the LS style of engine as well. It was a whole new revamp to the engine, the small block Chevy as it were. 5.3, 5.7, 6 liter and beyond are all different displacements, all within the realm of the LS engine. Luxury sport? Perhaps, but it's a drivetrain with a coil near the plug, and it was an all aluminum engine with steel liners, and the beauty was the heads were totally interchangeable. So for hot rodders and people that like to tune their engines, it was a very easy engine swap or partial engine swap to change the drivability, the tunability of that engine. Everybody who talks about swapping out unreliable vehicles, Jaguars, Porsches, and they end up putting an LS engine in there, that's done because of its simplicity and its durability. Now, while it is a push rod engine, it doesn't seem to be the most necessarily high-tech engine. It works, it's powerful, it's torquey, it sounds great, and with the revised firing order of that new engine, it sounds unique and interesting too. Now, the LS engine was so popular, in fact, that GM used it in Chevys, General Motors vehicles, Cadillacs, and a whole plethora of other vehicles, simply because it was easy to swap out, easy to retrofit, easy to maintain, and it was very, very powerful and reliable. So the LS engine was wonderful because it was great for hot rodding, interchangeable, and it was affordable. And I wish I could give you more specific models, but the fact remains is the vast majority of their vehicles that use the V8 engines in those generations were in fact driven by many variants of the LS engine. Now, if I can offer up a couple specific versions that I consider are the best, the LT7, which is probably one of the best dry sump engines, as well as titanium connecting rods, means it's great for the racetrack environment, and it takes the performance to another level. The LS9 is even better with supercharging, and it's an ultra bulletproof engine. The LS series engines, if you're looking for durability, fun, power, they've got you covered. And if you want my grand list right there of some of the most reliable vehicles on the market, yes, that's the one. Hope to see each and every one of you in the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.